Good morning everybody and welcome to today's English lesson. So for today you will need your English book and a pen to write with. So if you don't have those things, pause the video, go and get them now. Now that you have your English book, you are going to need to write the date, Monday the 11th of January, and the learning objective to be able to make predictions using inference skills. So pause while you do that. So, for today's learning objective, we're going to be making predictions about what a new book could be about. And we're going to use our inference skills. So think back to our reading comprehension lessons. What does inference mean? That means where we get given a clue, but we don't get told the whole answer. We've got to use our own knowledge to fill in the missing gaps. So, making predictions isn't about getting the right answer. To be honest, if you were to write a prediction with everything that happened in this story, I'd be a little bit suspicious that you hadn't done it by yourself. It's about using the evidence you've found to make a sensible guess. So what have you been shown? What is it likely that will happen? Some of it might be right, some of it might be wrong. It doesn't matter as long as you haven't made a totally wild guess that's got nothing to do with what you've seen. So I thought it might be helpful for me to show you how I would think about doing a prediction. So I've chosen a different story to the one you're going to do, and I've chosen Once, which is one of our star reading books. And I've got some questions at the top to help me think about my prediction. Is it fiction or non-fiction? Which genre does it belong to? Where do you think the story is set and why? What do you think the story is about and why? What do you think will happen in the story and why? And I'm going to write it in a paragraph. I'm not going to do one-word answers to those questions. I'm going to write my own prediction paragraph. But I'll use these questions to help my structure. So let's see. Fiction or non-fiction? Well, non-fiction books usually have like a photograph or a scientific diagram of the thing that we're about. And I'm not seeing this on this book, so I think it's most likely to be fiction. And I'm thinking, right, okay, which genre do it belong to? So fantasy, historical fiction, mystery, horror, adventure, science fiction. Well, using what I've got, I can see some railway lines. And often people start adventures by going on a trip on a train. So I think I'm going to say that it could be an adventure story, a fictional adventure story. So how might I start this? Let's see. I believe that this book is a fictional adventure book based on the fact that there is a railway line and people... Oops, made a little spelling mistake there, just fix that. Oh no, I've done 2 words in a row, I don't know why I've done that. There is a railway line and people often go on exciting journeys on railways. So you can see there I've answered the first 2 questions, but I've not just written number 1 and number 2. I've put it into my sentences. Now, where do I think the story is set? Well, it's a bit tricky to see because I can't see any buildings, which might help me out. I can't see any lakes or rivers, but perhaps the fact that there aren't any buildings means that it's in the countryside. Maybe there are fields to the side of the railway, and quite often railways do go through fields, don't they? So I think I'm going to go for that. So how about this? I can't see any buildings. So I think this book is set in the countryside. There we go. I've said why I think it's set in the countryside because I can't see any buildings. Now, what do I think this story is about? Now, I can see over here, it looks like a child to me. I can't tell whether they're a boy or a girl at this distance, but I do think it looks like a child. And these railway tracks must have something to do with it. So how about I think they're going to be the main character and they're going to go on a railway trip. So as there is a picture of a child on the front cover, remember my comma after my fronted adverbial, I think that the main character will be a child and they go on a railway trip. Now, they're kind of by themselves, so maybe this is the adventure that they don't have any grown-ups going with them. So I think they go on a railway trip, possibly by themselves. Okay, so that's kind of who I think the story is going to be about. Let's see, what might happen in this story? Well, if I look over here at the bottom, I can see some kind of bit of a fire here. So maybe there's a fire on the train. And then up here I can see a star. I'll come back to that in a minute. I'll have a think about it. So, let's see. During the story, comma after my fronted adverbial, they will help to put out a fire on the train and save the lives of the passengers. Now, what might that star? Oh, maybe one of the passengers is really grateful, and they teach a child how to navigate using the stars, how to look at what the stars are in the sky. So, to say thank you, one of the passengers. Oh, I keep spelling that the wrong today. I don't know why. Passengers teaches the child how to use the stars in the night sky to find their way home. Oh, that would be good actually if they go home again at the end. Because if I look here, it says, got some writing. Everybody deserves to have something good in their life at least once. So maybe the fact that they get to go home is the good thing. So maybe I might start something like, due to the fact that it says that the cover says everybody should have something good in their life, I think this will have a happy ending and the child will get home safely. So there we go. That's my prediction. You can see there that I've taken those questions and I've used those to help me with my thinking, but I've written my own paragraph with my prediction in. So your paragraph is going to look something like mine. It won't be exactly the same, obviously, but it will be a full paragraph. So let's look at what you're going to make a prediction about. So this is your front cover. So I just want you to pause, see what you see. So have you noticed that title, Beowulf? Oh, I wonder what that word could be. What do you notice about this character here at the front? Perhaps something about their clothing, their age, maybe something about their job based on what they look like. What's this in the background? Something very strange going on here. And then perhaps, can you tell anything about the setting? So, you're going to use this front cover to create your own prediction paragraph. Remember, it doesn't have to be exactly what happens in the book. I want it to be what you think based on your evidence. So make sure you're referring back to what you can see in the front cover when you're explaining why you think that. You'll see I've left the same questions up that I used for my prediction. And I've also put a few little sentence starters on the left-hand side if you're struggling for some sentence starters, and some conjunctions on the right-hand side. Remember, if you are using fronted adverbial sentence starters, you must have a comma at the end of the fronted adverbial, which is not necessarily right at the end of this writing that I've done here. So, I want you to pause while you write your prediction, When you've finished your paragraph and you've read it back through and you're happy it makes sense, you've answered all of the questions and you've explained why, you can move on. So, let's have a look a little bit more in detail about the words that are inside the book. What we've got here is a word cloud. And what happens is, the more times a word is used, the bigger it gets. So you can see a word here like one has been used lots and lots and lots of times in this story. A smaller word like fell or place or land will have been used fewer times. So what I want you to do is I want you to just again pause, have a look at the words. Are there any that stand out to you? Is there anything in common between the bigger words and the smaller words? Are there any words that you're thinking, I have not even got an idea what that could be about? So I think I might just point out some of the words that stood out to me. So I've spotted some words like thee, thou, twas, liegeman, and I'm thinking, might not be words that I would put in my writing normally. What might these words tell us about when this story takes place? What about, how might we know who the characters are? What do we know about names that would help us out? Which one of these words might be names? What does a name need to start with? That would help you to find out which of the words are the names and which are not names. So now, using what you've got here, what do you think will happen in the story? There might be some things that you think will be the same as in your first paragraph. You might realise that you've totally changed your mind, and that is absolutely fine. You're not going to cross out the first paragraph, you're going to write me a new paragraph. And it's going to start with something like, now that I have seen the word cloud, I predict that. So, do you need to completely change all of your predictions? Or do you think actually some of them probably still right, but you want to change it a little bit, or you want to add more detail in? So now, who do you think the main character is? When do you think it's set? Which word will support your prediction? And what do you think will happen in the story? Okay, where I would like you to pause while you're doing that, and then when you've finished your second paragraph, move on. So, now that you have finished your predictions, you are going to take a photo of your work and upload it to Class Dojo. Please make sure the picture is clear so we can read your writing. If it's really fuzzy and blurry, I won't be able to see your amazing hard work. There is no English worksheet today. The work in your book is that's it. Now you've got to the end, you're finished. So please don't panic that you can't see the English worksheet. The help session is at 12:30 today. Log on to Teams if you have any questions or if you need any help. Remember, read your book for at least 20 minutes every day. So if you've already done that today, brilliant. If not, make sure you do it later on. Okay, so make sure you upload your work to Teams. Come to the help session at 12:30 if you've got any questions you want to ask us or if you want to check anything. And if not, I will see you tomorrow. Bye!